STMLT, which apparently stands for Stimulate. They're back with a brand new song which is called ZENTSUPPA. I have no idea what that means, but I am really interested to check this out for a couple of reasons. First of all, I started getting into this band around about the time I think they went on their hiatus, and just I was picking up their songs going, wow, this is interesting. And then I heard things about, well, formatively they had a saxophone player, so I went back and checked out their old stuff. And I was looking for all of this, and then I found out afterwards that they had like this whole social media presence, which is apparently where they came from. And you know what? I love bands with interesting stories, and this band just seemed to have the most bizarre story. So I was kind of worried we weren't going to get any more, and then bam, they come back. Brand new song came out yesterday while unfortunately I was out doing a bit of work. So I missed it then. Had to do a live stream, had to do all of that, but here I am, I've got the chance, I'm sitting down. I can't wait to listen to this new song. And to make it even more interesting, I've already heard some people in my Discord community have pretty strong opinions about this song. So, you know, I'm always a big fan. When a song is splitting opinion, I am always, I don't know, I'm a big supporter of the underdog. So if I hear a song splitting opinion, that kind of hardens my resolve to want to like it. But we're always honest on this channel, so I'm going to tell you exactly what I think when I hear it. But I'm excited. And you know, furthermore, on top of all this, like I say, this band has been through so many iterations. I do not know what member changes there have been since we last saw them. I do know that the one of the former singers, that she's no longer with them, but I don't know who's come in her place. If anyone, I do not know what the new band's going to look like, sound like. So all I know is there's this really interesting group who have wowed me before, have changed their sound before. They got a new song. It's split opinion. This is prime example of Howard ready to be excited. So let's jump in. Brand new song. Like I say, it's called ZENTSUPPA. Someone's going to have to tell me what ZENTSUPPA means. Let's give it a listen. STMLT, Stimulate, whatever you want to call them. Just get the sounds all set up. Volumes are right. Should have done that before I started. Here we go. Brand new song. I'm interested. Okay, we're starting. Starting with a nice EDM build-up. All right, it's a strong start. All right, where are we going? Where are we going? All right, enjoying the intro, keeping the intro going. Interesting. I'm loving that syncopation on the drum kit there. That gets stuck in your head. Wow, we got a proper full-on big chorus as well. This feels much more focused on getting a hit. You know, this really feels like a good, effective single. They just tightened it all up here, haven't they? The syncopation of like those stabby staccato bass and guitar parts over the drum beat, really funky. Yeah, this is definitely going to be one of those ones that this is going to be good live. I should have guessed it would go really metal in the bridge. I really feel like they're trying to re-establish themselves. They're clearly, you just get the vibe. They are really trying to take it seriously now and go for like, let's bag ourselves some good quality hits. Because this is, there's a lot to unpack with this one. Oh, I love that. Put the chant over the end of the last chorus. Wow. Okay. Let's. Oh, I was about to say let's leave that nice final shot on screen. There we go. Do you know? This definitely feels to me, like I say, for a band who they got this playful thing, they come through social media where they always seem to be doing pranks on their videos and stuff, and there's always been this feeling of they're having so much fun being so playful. Is it going to solidify into like a serious thing that could really take off, or is it just going to be one of those things where its biggest value is that it's a bit of a sort of a pranky, crazy kind of thing? This, I must be, in the same way that we had, what was it, Anti-Mental before? In a similar way to that, this feels like a really serious, solidified attempt at a proper heavy metal / rock with pop overtones kind of song that you really feel like this is a serious attempt at like trying to get a good quality single, because that is catchy, it flows well, it's high energy, it's got the metal aspects that I know appeal to a lot of current fans. Plus as well, like I say, it's got the catchy poppiness that is going to appeal to people who want that sort of melodic rock aspect as well. So it's really hitting a lot, ticking a lot of those boxes, hitting a lot of those buttons. You name your metaphor, it's doing a lot of that. So the question is, does it work, and is it what I expected? Well, to be honest, the biggest surprise is that there wasn't so many surprises. It felt rather, it felt rather like a, I don't want to sort of say something that's going to sound like I'm underestimating it, saying it sounds normal or something, but it didn't feel like it was going anywhere weird. It felt like it was taking together a lot of aspects that we've heard in other songs from them and putting them together in a tight, concise, efficient kind of package. It was, I guess, what you'd expect from a single. I mean, if you get an album, you're going to expect more crazy tracks from there, but this feels like a single. It feels very purposeful, very direct. It's not that long, but it flies by. Even for a song that's nearly 4 minutes, it feels much less. It feels like less than 3 minutes, which again is always a good sign. But it's just very concise. It charges along. It gets into its chorus, gets into its chants, does all of those things. But I would say most of all, this feels like, okay, a band who've been through a lot of tumultuous stuff in the past, and they're now just trying to cement, okay, here we are, we're back, we're taking this seriously, here's a good quality first single to launch us off, let's go. It really feels like that. It feels like they're trying to solidify their position, cement their feet to the ground, get themselves into a place where everyone knows what they are, what they sound like, everyone takes them seriously, and they can just build from this point. So yeah, I think this is both a very strong single. I also think it's a very strong way to come back. Talking about it stylistically and how it works, so a lot of the things about what's happening here musically, it's doing some of the things that maybe are like, so there's a lot of the scream vocal in there, and I've kind of said before, scream vocal is something where I'm okay with it in some examples, but it's not something that I naturally gravitate towards usually by my own fruition. In this particular instance, I think the reason why it worked quite well here, first of all, it was in the mix in a way where, when you had the scream bits of the vocal in, they were quite sort of rhythmic, and then it wasn't kind of, it was in between the guitars. The guitars were wrapped around the scream, so it was all part of that sort of intensive sort of mid-range growling sound. And at the same time, the kick drum, which was, the drums were really beautifully really beautiful rhythmic syncopation in this. The drums were kicking through, so everything still felt like it had punch. In some of the worst examples, you get some ones where ironically, I shouldn't say this, but I want to use the example of the recent Slaughter to Prevail thing in Song 3 by Babe Metal. You get to the bit where it's all Slaughter to Prevail, and the song kind of, to me, feels like it loses a lot of punch just because everything just becomes this growl, and it kind of loses punch. Whereas this, when you've got this sort of screaming, growling bit going on, well, it's more scream, but when you've got that going on, the kick drum's still kicking through, and you've still got this really head-banging sort of like energy, which is driving things along. So I think the scream bit worked here because it was balanced off with some rhythm. You had kind of like the growly, snarly anger, but with a rhythmic undertone, bringing it all together. And then you had the chorus, which was a simple but nice and catchy chorus, and a chant as well. So you got an audience participation chant, and you got a sing-along chorus to get stuck in your head. It's a really good example of doing a single. You're doing a single, doing a nice catchy song. You can tell the video, they've done it very well, considering obviously this doesn't look like it was necessarily a high budget video, but it looks like it was done really well. I like the lighting. I like the whole way they've been stylized really well, but they got their lighting. They got a nice small room where you can really control the lighting and everything. Good camera work. So again, the video looks much more effective than more than the sum of its parts. I guess you'd say more effective than you'd think it would be if you just looked at the basics of, oh, it's a small room with some lights in it. It actually looks really punchy and big for that. So I think they did a great job with the video. Everything about this to me just feels really well presented, really energetic, really fun. Yeah, it's a strong single. Now, obviously moving forwards from this, what would I hope to hear next? I think now they've solidified that they are back and they're able to do like really, like I say, a good example of a strong, heavy metal rock single. I want to hear them now slightly reintroduce a little bit of the crazy. Let's have a few more songs which are a little bit more risky and a little bit less efficient, a little bit more out there and berserk. Let's go for that. Let's have a little bit more of these crazy variations and build upon it. But this was a strong start, and I think really this is what we would ask. This is what we should ask for, something like this. I think we should be hoping for songs like this when bands come back, where they're just kind of saying, all right, before we do anything crazy, let's put your mind at ease and remind you that we still got the basics down, and we can give you a song that you're going to be happy to hear every time we turn up on stage. We can give you a song where you're going to be like, I can't wait to get in the crowd and hear that and chant along and sing along to it. And then, yeah, they've just, like I say, they've put their feet back on the ground and got us ready and excited for whatever comes next. So yeah, so the people in my community who were unsure about this, well, I don't understand what you're unsure about. It seems like everything STMLT have done before, but sort of refined into a new updated package. I like it. I think it's in line with what we expect from them, and I can't wait to see what they build upon this moving forwards. So great stuff. Cool. Yeah, again, like I say, it's not doing anything too out there, too bizarre. It's not doing anything more crazy and experimental things. But that's not what your first single coming back is about. Your first single coming back is about just re-establishing core qualities, core values of your music. And I like that. I guess I look forward to seeing them reintroducing a little bit of the rap bits they did in their songs. I really enjoyed that before. So I hope we get a little bit more of that in the future and some more of the craziness. But yeah, great first single back. And I guess my opinion on this will be further developed when I hear more songs, see how much variation they're going to build upon this. But as a first single back, once again, I think it did its job perfectly, and I enjoyed it. And good for them. Good for them. I am glad they're back. Anyway, there you go. Those are my opinions. As always, get in the comments. Tell me yours. And until I hopefully see you very soon in Japan for the next one of these. For now, ciao, ciao.